Yeah, Talaman, Geek Talk. Let's enjoy the show. Talaman always got a plan. Geek Talk is popping where it's really at. Represents geek culture, homie got structure. Sometimes it's vulgar, screw cast culture. Feel like Luffy, smart to say the least. Loving One Piece, man, really loves to eat. Everybody knows the show is really is Talaman. You know what time it is. Let's go, Geek Talk.
Welcome. We got another episode of Geek Talk with Tyler, and I am your host, Tyler. Today I'll be joined by my guest, Lewis. Lewis, thanks so much for swinging by today.
Absolutely my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
What are you doing right now, and where can people get a hold of you? You know, like what are you doing project-wise, etc., etc.?
I've been kind of freelancing with my little deep voice talent, but essentially I've been doing a lot of video game content creating. I'm on TikTok mostly. I kind of got a little thing there going in Population One. It's kind of my game. It's kind of become a little local celebrity in there. It's basically like a Fortnite VR type scenario.
Nice, rock on. And you
yeah, man.
I'm actually one of the many voices we have for our X-Men series.
Absolutely, man. And I'm so grateful and I appreciate you having me. It's cool. Really great project. Gets me excited as an X-Men fan, obviously, and growing up with superheroes on the brain, you know?
As of now, you are Cyber, the nemesis of Wolverine, Colonel Moss, who was a non-canon character, but we're going to start bringing him back, you know, kind of do a Harley Quinn scenario.
Right.
Obnoxio and Arcade will be making his debut, later on. Would you like to give us a little bit of a sample of your voice talents?
Well, I mean, I can go with like that. Me and you are still working out the clown, but it's like, I'm Obnoxio, the clown. You know, we have that tone set, which I'm really impressed by that character, by the way. I was glad you showed him to me. Like, I'm quite a bit obsessed, you know? And for those that don't know, with Arcade, he's essentially like the Riddler for like Marvel, and we're kind of working him out too, right? But it was, right off the top, how does that Arcade go? Right, remember, I can't lean too far, Joker. I'll show them the best time they've ever had, let alone an adventure. Oh, I might be off base there a little bit. It's been a minute, man. And my Cyber, right? I'm ready with Cyber. I wouldn't judge me for things you know. I fought Wolverine, and he's much more talented than you. You know, and that's, I have a good time on separating the I consider Moss and Cyber very similar, even though they're not at all. You know, there's like a different vibe there where it's a general versus like a passion, you know, if you will, if you know what I mean.
No, I do. Let me ask you something. How familiar are you with dubbed anime, English dubbed anime?
Barely, but I'm mostly 90s VHS, you know, like the hits. But I'm into anime, that's for sure.
Sony Strait, who you may all recognize as the English Funimation voice actor for Krillin, also does Usopp from One Piece. You'll see that their voices are very similar, but there is a different inflection with their voice.
Right. It's the personality too, right?
Yeah, in fact, I myself am actually kind of doing a couple of voices for the X-Men.
Yeah, I'm more excited.
Voice Colossus. He's very British Russian man who is big fan of My Little Pony.
I love that. That was one of, even the examples that we discussed.
I'm also going to be doing Cosmo is Space Dog. I am somehow finding myself to be part of Mojo's set, even though I was already from nowhere, part of the collector's collection.
I love it, man.
Just how the Russian accents are there, but one's much deeper and more masculine than the other one is.
Right. Well, and I tend to have that in my career. You know, I always go towards the Optimus, and the Optimus Prime just like comes out of me. You know, same with the movie guy. In a world, you know, it just comes naturally without trying.
And you know what I've always found hilarious about the X-Men, the 90s X-Men?
Yeah.
They were fighting stereotypes with stereotypes.
Isn't that the truth, eh?
Stereotypical Cajun woman, or the stereotypical Cajun
Yeah.
stereotypical Southern belle. Got the
Right.
stereotypical spiritual black lady.
Well, and the wise man in the, the wise old bald white guy, dare I say, in the wheelchair, like,
Stereotypical Russian brood.
right. Even,
Stereotypical German priest.
right. One I consider Wolverine. Wolverine's like the all American aggressor, in a way.
I wouldn't like you saying that.
No. Try.
Canadian aggressor.
Yeah, well, that's right. I'm Canadian too, man. So with that. I don't know if you remember back in the day, like you might be a little younger, but they had the Weapon X card series. And Wolverine was like my favorite.
That I don't remember, but did you know that Wolverine made his debut in a Hulk comic?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm a little rusty on that info, but that sounds about right.
He was actually sent to assassinate the Hulk as opposed to being an X-Men overall. So
Yeah, that sounds right.
But like many Marvel characters, their debuts aren't exactly with what we most know them as.
Right.
Is another famous example. Even though we always know him as Wolverine's sparring partner, he actually made his debut in Iron Fist.
Is that right, eh? Dang. Yeah, good call. That's crazy.
Yeah, or even origin stories can get mixed up. Like, if
Right.
we're going to go to the world of the Transformers, in the Generation 1 continuity, the Dinobots were built on Earth by Wheeljack and Ratchet.
Right.
Part, they actually land in the Savage Lands and get reconfigured by the natives there.
Wow.
Already natives of Cybertron, but
It's wild, man.
Yeah, it just shows the various forms. Or in many cases, yes, Nightcrawler is the son of Mystique. Now, it's not what we think.
So true. So true.
But as long as we keep the core substance. Like many people have been saying how X-Men has always been woke. That's actually a very popular misconception. Yes, the cast is diverse, but they really didn't start tackling political situations until the 70s, where Chris Claremont started writing for the comics.
Man, you got your info, bud. I love that about you. You know what you're talking about.
X-Men series, you should be well versed on it.
No, that is fair. That is fair.
Like I actually watched the movie 12 Angry Men, or the third episode, 12 Angry Mutants.
That's awesome.
The scenario of that episode is where we get Cyclops trying to convince all of Wolverine's enemies that he's innocent.
Wow, that's awesome. I love it.
Have you seen the new Beavis and Butthead series?
No, I have not.
It's very funny. They do a parody of 12 Angry Men.
Is that right?
An obvious open and shut case.
Mike Judge is one of my favorites.
Right, and they're all voting guilty. And Beavis and Butthead vote not guilty. It's like, not guilty. He did the crimes. He was cool. He's not guilty.
Oh my God.
He did them. Then that means he is therefore guilty. She just doesn't get it. And then when we eventually find his innocence to be proven,
Wow.
they vote guilty. So by the end of the episode, it was a hung jury. And, well, you know how their brains work.
So good, man. I gotta watch that tonight, maybe. I love it.
Plus, but even a character's legacy can prove that they give inspiration for others. In the case of mythology, Sun Wukong, or better known as the Monkey King, served as the inspiration of Akira Toriyama's Rust and Power, Goku, who in turn was the source of inspiration for Luffy from One Piece.
Wow. I like the detective concept, that we briefly touched on, how like even Batman brings out like this, like, Sherlock Holmes vibe, if you will, because there's like this concept there of like where he's human. You know, a lot of our favorite superheroes aren't human, and I've always loved that about Batman. That he kind of like.
2 parts Sherlock Holmes, 2 parts Dracula. Maybe more like Van Helsing. It's got like the
Right.
abilities of Dracula, but they're not as supernatural.
Right.
2 parts Bruce Lee. And 2 parts MacGyver.
No, that's not bad. I like that. That's pretty accurate. You know.
You know what that reminds me of? You ever see South Park?
Of course, yeah.
He's part man, half bear, and half pig.
Mad Bear Pig. What's that? That was the global warming guy, right?
Allegory for global warming.
Yeah, that's right. Dude, did you see in their recent episodes how they made like not a direct but a comment about apologizing ish that like he might have been right a little bit or something to that tune? It was pretty funny. Al Gore acknowledged it and played the clip and said, "Well, thank you, South Park guys." You know, they gave me a little credit. I was howling, man. It's pretty funny stuff.
Did you
They
see
have
the
weird.
recent South Park special that he has a child with Pig Bear Girl?
No, I haven't seen much of the recents. I've been too busy. I gotta get on that.
Yeah,
Really so good.
it really says what the fuck.
Well, I was what? Do you know, familiar on the South Park topic, just to how crazy they are with the details. Do you remember the World of Warcraft guy where they had that guy sitting in the chair and he wouldn't get out of the chair and he's an actual employee of Blizzard Gaming. I didn't know that. And they had his son do an interview where he was talking about how he couldn't believe the details that they got right about his dad and how he sat at the chair. And even his arm brace and his necklace was all accurate. And like, I was just howling. It's just so funny, you know, that influence. Like
It's easily one of my favorite episodes, and honestly, out of the entire span of South Park, there are 2 episodes I was not really a fan of. It was the
Wait.
Baby Athletic Association episode, and
Okay.
the Pee Wee Hockey episode. And with the prior, the best part of that episode was when Cartman dresses up as a slave owner, goes to this college institution.
Yeah, I remember.
Institution and starts asking about his student athletes.
Yeah, he's walking around like an old South man, right? If I remember correctly, in the office.
Like a southern slave trader, like something
Correct.
Slave or Django would be a part of.
That's right. That's right. Jesus, Lord, man. South Park's pretty crazy stuff.
They do make fun of Lord too, but Lord was cool with it.
Oh, it's crazy. I remember that too.
Yeah, so
Wow.
even in some ways, parodies are a nice homage, or a good way to continue a character's legacy. Aladdin proves this in The Genie, where you see the multiple of actors he pays homage
Yeah.
to. Rodney Dangerfield, Peter Lorre.
Oh, I think there's even Dice Clay in there. He might have done like a little.
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. That's a unique outfit.
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, man. Well,
I'm not entirely sure what was his name.
Well, how do you feel about the guy at the beginning? Apparently, that's the genie, right? The opening scene where he's standing there selling wares or whatnot. But it's like a heavily debated Disney thing, right? Is that the genie? And like, there's so much mystique to like the hidden aspects. Is where I was going with that. It's wild, you know.
So no.
Well, that's how I feel about it.
Into is blue.
Right, man.
It's like Impossible Man, where he changes shape, but he still remains his green and purple hue.
Right.
Or then there's Mystique, or a Skrull, where they just change their everything.
Yeah, full morph.
So no, I don't believe that's cheating.
Fair. Another thing, when you're alone, listen to that intro song. And this is a new thing I read about. And imagine Jack Black singing it. And there's people that vow that that's the voice of Jack Black. And it's a mind trip, I'll tell you. Check that out.
I doubt it, but I'll tell you.
I know it's not him. It's not him, but I'm telling you, when that's in your brain, You definitely have a little taste where you could see why somebody might assume, you know?
Well, yes, and as long as you bring up Jack Black, here's what I find interesting. This is an often heated debate. Should actors be voice actors?
I think
I
yes.
won't get too deep into it because that's going to be a separate episode.
Fair.
But
I think there's politics there. There's stipulations. There's some yes and there's some no. But,
it depends on the person. Jack Black is a musician and he's got the vocal range to carry it off.
yes, he's proven that
Actors
with
like
Tenacious
say
D.
Aquafina,
Yeah,
they sound the exact same every time, and they get a
right.
little old. Or what you call it, freaking what was the name of Penny's actor in The Big Bang Theory?
Oh, jeez, it's been a while, man. I wouldn't know. Jeez, good call. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue, I swear.
It's on the tip of my tongue too.
Yeah, double fail.
Oh, and Katie Kuuko.
Well, yeah,
They sound exactly the same.
right.
But to be fair, there are a lot of actors that have gotten voice acting that do sound exactly the same, like J.K. Simmons, but still find a way to pull it off.
Well, and I wouldn't go too deep, but a lot of people brought this to my attention that hey, they hired a new Optimus, and apparently it's the
Chris Hemsworth, I know.
yes, and people are very upset about this, and I just don't even know what to say. It's like I get it, but
Well,
I haven't
here's the
heard it
deal.
yet.
Do you remember when Kevin Conroy passed?
Yes,
Mark Hamill also retired as Joker.
that is correct. That is correct, and I love that. That's great.
I'm upset that we're no longer getting Mark Hamill Joker.
Right.
I love why we're not getting it.
Yeah.
I'm so upset that we're no longer getting it.
Yeah, I would agree with that totally. It's one of my favorite voices to do. I do the Kevin Conroy, and a lot of people they don't even know. Like they're like, "Who is that?" When I try to talk specific Batman, you know this Batman, you know, and they're like,
I'm gonna mind fuck you for a second.
"Copy."
When I was doing auditions for our X-Men series, we
Yes,
had this guy. Swear to God, he said he was the biggest Marvel fan ever. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It's nice to see Marvel fans excited for this project.
absolutely.
And I said, we do need a Toad. Would you be interested in auditioning for that? And he said, yes. Guess what he gave me?
What?
He gave me the Mario Toad. You're an MCU fan.
I might remember you talking about this in the midst of confusion when it happened in the group chat, and I was like, "Wow, oh my god."
I'm like people that say that
You
they're
couldn't.
into anime, but they've only watched Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh man, I know exactly what you're talking about, bro. Like they got the T-shirts, but they don't have any idea. Meanwhile, I'm over here
Well, it's not.
like
It's an American series.
obsessed. I'm obsessed, bro, with really good anime. Like my biggest are One Punch Man, you know. But I go deep on like D, The Last Vampire, and all the old retro classics, Akira's and all that stuff. But I like to go for the unheard ofs too, Steve Bloom's done a lot of unheard of projects. Eye of Goku. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but that's a
I
wild.
haven't, but it's nice to see something cultured. We're actually getting some good stuff, some
Yeah,
continuations, and some new series. I
yes.
recently just got Sandland, Akira Toriyama's last work, I believe, or one of his last works before he died.
Wow.
But this year we're also getting a Suicide Squad anime,
Yeah, I heard about that. I was
and we're
pretty
getting a
nice.
continuation of Konosuba.
Oh, nice. Well,
Yeah, and we're actually getting another season of My Hero Academia, which is basically if your friend likes the MCU, they're automatically gonna like this anime.
fair.
Or the
Fair.
X-Men anime. Which, funny enough, the X-Men Marvel did have a couple of anime. It was Wolverine, it was Marvel Disc Avengers, but we don't talk about that one. They had an X-Men one, a Punisher one, I believe, and an Iron Man. I think there was a couple of others. Not sure off the top of my head, but I did see the Wolverine one and the X-Men one. the Wolverine and the X-Men one.
I think there was the Hulk planet one too, right? Where they were doing.
But that was not an anime.
No, that's right. Actually, you're right.
The closest thing we're going to get to a Planet Hulk movie is Thor 3.
Yeah, basically. Good call.
Which is kind of insulting to the hardcore Marvel fans.
Right.
But
We got to take it because we got to enjoy what we can get.
yeah, but even adaptations find several ways to be altered. What you call it? Like Disney changes everything about their adaptations, whether it be ethnicity or gender.
Yeah, the so-called woke vibe, right? Like they're so scared. I've even heard of changing history. Like when they tell a history story, they change the skin color of someone or whatever it may be. You know, it's
They did
it's wild.
the Blue Princess or the Blue Mermaid, or what was it? The Blue
Oh,
Fairy.
the Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid. Yeah,
No, it's the Blue Fairy and Pinocchio. They did that for Ariel.
that's right.
You know what, Disney? I got a challenge for you.
You a real one,
We're making all the characters black now.
right?
Tarzan black. I dare you.
That would be good. Something else, man. I'd be down with that. You know.
I know you're not going to, but can you imagine?
Well, and everyone.
I'd love to see the controversy in that.
Well, they always try to bring up this reverse angle in all these debates I see where, why don't we cast Ryan Gosling as the next Black Panther? Can't wait to see it. You know, it's just like, like I get it. We're trying to reverse it and make sure everyone's getting a piece of it and everything. But when you go
My
far,
feeling on the matter, it's like, I mean, okay, well, let's look at characters. I mean, I don't think we can get away with it more in animation, like hashtag keep binging gargoyles.
oh, yeah, I love gargoyles.
Even
Yeah.
though gargoyles aren't human, they still have nationalities. Like the Manhattan Clan came from Scotland,
That's right.
and he's voiced by voice legend, and Goliath is voiced by voice legend Keith David.
One of my favorites, man. Strong.
About them being voiced by actual Scottish actors.
Yeah.
The closest one we got was Hudson. Rest in power, his voice actor, whose name is escaping me. But
Now, did he wear a kilt? That actual gargoyle? Was there one that wore a kilt? I don't remember.
they don't really
But-
wear pants. They kind of wear
No.
loincloths. So
Yeah, it's like, but I feel like one of them had some sort of knife or like some sort of bigger belt buckle. It's been a while. I'm trying to recall that.
belts, and I think they have belts and loincloths, but his outfit was more detailed.
That's right.
I'll give you that. But the point I'm trying to make is that I feel like people get to, when it comes to a character's legacy, nitpicky.
Yeah.
Things like gender bending and
Race changing, if you will, whatever it may be.
when it suits them. Like, if you're really that concerned with representation, why not just make a new character?
That's
Instead
exactly
of
what I say.
making
Yeah.
this one.
Right. Like create this whole new vibe with an amazing new black character, or whatever it may be, and glorify the heck
Character, a
I love
new gay character, a new
it. Right.
it doesn't matter. The point is, I honestly don't think they need to be changed just to check a box.
Right. Ain't that the truth? When you think about the creative aspects of how things are made and how they always were, it's not about the talent in which you can make it or the passion to your project so much as following the rules and being a part of the wink wink team, which no matter your opinion is just kind of sour because that creative responsibility to make a project, is kind of raw process, ideally.
Absolutely, and it is nice seeing a new face for a character.
Absolutely.
The whole race swapping, gender swapping is actually a hindrance.
True story, man.
Doing it for representation.
Right.
Than any
Right.
other reason.
You're not changing the vibe. You're not helping the culture. You're not really doing much other than that at times. I get what you're saying. Totally.
Exactly. Which, funny enough, the best thing I like about Black Panther is that they're two token white guys, but also they're two Tolkien white guys.
It's been a while. Watch that again too. Wild.
You're not missing much. If you've seen Lion King, you've seen Black Panther.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Exactly.
But funny enough, if you've seen Kimba the White Lion, you've seen Lion King.
Wild stuff.
Saying about the Disney movies, or at least the theatrical Disney movies, Disney bases their movies off of two things: classic literature or mythology and folklore.
Yeah, that's about right.
There are times where they intertwine.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lion King is an example. It's 2 parts Kimba the White Lion and 3 parts Shakespeare.
Yeah.
I mean, Disney's never going to acknowledge the prior.
Well, have you ever seen too, like at least in the vintage days, how they'd recycle their clips? It's quite interesting.
I noticed that.
Yeah, they literally have scenes.
That was like when Walt Disney was dead.
Yeah.
So they were still trying to figure things out, or at least he was on his last legs.
Right.
They were trying to get movies out in a minute.
I remember hearing a rumor that he was frozen. Walt Disney's been frozen in some capsule, and he'll be the first to be unreleased and brought back from being frozen. And I remember hearing that as a kid. I don't know if there's ever any truth to any of this, or like, what the heck, where that came from.
I noticed when comparing the old Disney movies to the more modern ones, that they've always used a lot of the same voice actors.
Yeah. That's probably budgetary, given or budget wise, given the times. They were just like that. Save the buck.
It could be budgetary, and I have another theory. Big names draw crowds, not just for characters, which explains all the number of Batman movies we've seen, but actors as well. Like, which is why people get excited for the latest Kung Fu Panda movie, because Awkwafina's in it. Even like, okay, you're an Asian girl that rapped about her vagina once, and then all of a sudden we're supposed to give a shit.
I know, man. Jesus.
I'm not knocking her. It's just cool that you're famous, but can you at least spice up your voice, diversify it if you really want to be a voice actor?
When I think because you got the passion and you make projects, it's hard to swallow that kind of vibe, where.
I mean, let's look at the Frank Welkers, the Mel Blancs, the Tara Youngs, the Steve Blooms, the of this world. That's pure golden voice acting right there.
So good, man. Absolutely. Bugs Bunny himself.
People are they're just speaking into a microphone.
Right. For a paycheck. So true, though. So true.
Now, Jack Black does sound the same for some of them, but not all of them.
He has that real vocal talent that you can't ignore, that it's not just something silly, He really knows how to.
Seth Rogen, who sounds like the drunken frat boy for every role.
That's so the truth, man.
I started respecting him a lot less since Santa Inc.
I get that.
You've seen it, right?
No.
Unless you're doing edibles, don't.
Okay.
The concept is that they're going for a woke thing because all the Santas have been white males, and they're trying to change that premise.
Jeez, of course.
Yeah, and it was made. It starred Sarah Silverman as the main protagonist, and freaking I just spaced out his name.
Rogen?
Yeah, Seth Rogen as Santa.
Is that right, eh? And I always loved Silverman, I can't lie. She's been a funny one here and there. True story.
But then she starts getting political, and I'm like...
Well, yeah, and I'm out that loop 100%. I agree with you there.
Now, I'm going to ask you something.
Yes, sir.
Should we separate the art from the artist? Whether it's, say, J.K. Rowling's trans tweets, or the whole woke thing Sarah Silverman and Seth Rogen have done for their show, or just pretty much anything in general?
To a degree. I think it gets weird, if that person has the agenda to really inflict the vibe into everything they do. And maybe we don't agree with them, because I feel opinions can vary and we're all good. But if you keep that strong sense and vibe, it's almost like you're trying to teach religion in a public school or something. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of people won't agree with it. So you have to have that separation.
That's a fair
And
answer. And look, no one's asking you to buy a copy of Hitler's artwork or one of Mussolini's sculptures or anything,
right,
or some
right,
art by the KKK.
right.
But I honestly don't think you should diminish Harry Potter.
No,
This is one who grew up differently.
the story being told isn't her book about her exact opinion. That's Harry Potter's world. It's a complete fantasy. There's no real agendas.
Which, speaking of, did you know that Hayao Miyazaki, one of the most beloved Japanese creators of modern time, was not a fan of the Lord of the Rings movies or not a fan of Disney films?
Really?
Yeah, not a fan of the Disney films because of how much they've changed when you compare them to their original source.
Fair. I get that.
And he's not a fan of the Tolkien or the live-action Lord of the Rings films because they feel like he's gotten too Hollywood. Plus, the orcs he feels represent colonialistic Japan.
Wow. That's an interesting point of view, but I mean, I guess given where he probably grew up and everything, that matters,
Well, I mean, considering that the bulk of his films take place in Japan,
Fair.
Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, The Cat Returns. I want to say Howl's Moving Castle. I'm not sure about that one. Definitely Pop
Yeah. Yeah, I know that.
was his.
So he's that's for sure.
But then there are ones that don't, like Porco Rosso.
Which?
Porco Rosso. It's basically. You ever see Tailspin?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Baloo's a pig. You're caught up.
Right. Okay. I love that.
I always wanted to fly in a seaplane.
That's crazy. Just because of Baloo?
I mean, it's a good gateway. I mean, you gotta admit, seaplanes are pretty cool.
Absolutely. And that's one of those actors you just talked about. He was in all the Disney stuff. What is his name? Baloo. Forget.
One, Phil Harris.
Yes.
He only had 3 Disney movies to his name. 2 of them are bears.
Yeah, that's the Jungle Book.
Little John from.
Oh yeah, Robin Hood. Yeah, that's right.
And
Yeah.
Tom from the Aristocats.
Was that right? Oh man, good memory on you.
He did have another one in a Don Bluth film, but I forget which one.
Yeah, it was like way before, like a Thumbelina or something. It wasn't Titan A.
It wasn't one of the good Don Bluth movies.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I remember.
I think it was that one that was kind of had like a Roger Rabbit feel to it. Part of it was animated, part of it wasn't.
Wasn't Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. That's not.
No, that wasn't Don Bluth. That was Disney.
That's right.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. Did Don die? I forget. I lost track of Don Bluth. I wonder what happened. I know 80.
Unless you're like, I think they would have told us.
Because I know.
Ned is obsessed with celebrity deaths.
Yeah. Yeah, you hear about ones you don't even know, especially a Don Bluth. I'd like to think of making around, He was like the man who took on Disney, technically, right? Or tried to.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nice staple.
Well, I don't know how you feel about Titan AE, but that was one of my favorites of all time. I felt like.
Answer on that because I really haven't seen it.
Oh, it's a good, about it.
A lot of the films that Disney has produced lately, like Raya the Last Dragon, it would work better if it was a TV series, not a movie. They were trying to show 20 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag, if you ask me.
Gotcha. Well, no, but Titan AE was, if you're not familiar, Don Bluth's last attempt, right? And he went bankrupt on it because they put.
Okay, yeah, the space one. I do remember that. It had some solid voice acting. The animation was there.
The concepts I felt, sometimes the story is just so powerful. It had a cool theme of a vibe where you wanted to follow the energy of like solving their problems. You know what I mean, though? It like,
and that's the problem with many adaptations. The
yeah,
concept is there, but the
yeah,
execution is poor.
so true.
Like, what you call it? X-Men Evolution. It was nostalgic, but it's not good. The concept was that the X-Men were teenagers, and I'm like, okay, but why are only some of them teenagers? I mean, if you keep Wolverine old, that makes sense. That's a part of his backstory.
Right, right,
some of them teenagers. That didn't
right.
make sense to me.
Well, like they don't know by now how Marvel fans work. We're checking, we're looking into this stuff. You can't pull like the wool, man. You gotta be careful of the stories you tell about our beloved characters, right?
Right, and then there are adaptations done well, like Batman the Animated Series.
So good.
Fans today will tell you is the best DC adaptation of all time.
Agreed.
The voice acting, the animation, the score, the theme song.
The vibe, just that overall as a whole, man, it was really something, man.
And I'm not getting political, but if you want to tackle dark situations,
Yeah.
that's an apropos way to do it.
Even the way he would punch and fight like the bad guy goons was still kind of friendly enough for kids, but awesome for like the heart of like the person wanting to see him beat people up,
Let me ask you, what are some of your favorite episodes?
Oh, geez, man, I haven't watched that in so long. But anything with Joker and his girl was like my favorite. But I used to love the freeze too in there. It was like, man.
Two of my favorite episodes was the trial episode.
Oh,
They could have the mock trial for him, basically.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Dude, it's been a while, man.
Kind of messed up, and they eventually vote that Batman is not guilty. But it turns out that since they made themselves, they're going to kill Batman anyway. So basically, the whole trial doesn't even matter.
Wasn't it a dream, or am I wrong?
No, that actually happened.
Okay, I gotta watch that later.
Another good one you should definitely check out is Almost Got Him. It definitely had an Adam West Batman vibe to him. You got all of Batman's classic villains: Joker, Penguin, Two-Face, Poison Ivy, and Killer Croc playing cards, saying how they almost got him.
Wow, it was awesome.
Yeah.
One of my favorites was the.
What was it? It was Toxic Pumpkins for Poison Ivy. It was a giant coin for Two-Face. Killer Croc cornered him and threw a rock at him. That was a big one. Penguin trapped him in a bird aviary. And Joker's was actually pretty good, but he got rescued by Catgirl.
Wow.
The big twist was that Killer Croc was actually Batman in disguise the whole time.
Wow.
Like, yeah, well, joke's on you. We got the drop on you. It's like, do you? Everybody else is just a cop.
Man, that's crazy. I think like in those days when that was on TV and it was hot, like I have some of the VHS, I collect them, but the Spider-Man animated series had my heart, in those like.
Or did Hobgoblin sound exactly like Joker?
Yeah, that's so true, man. I love that.
Mark Hamill is another good example. A lot of his characters sound exactly the same. Hobgoblin and Joker are examples, but then there are other characters, like say Firelord Ozai and Skips from regular show, that do sound different. So you definitely can tell he has vocal range.
Oh yeah, no, that's so true, man. I didn't know for the longest time he was doing that Joker, and when I found out, It's like an adrenaline, man. I lost my mind. Like Luke Skywalker? Excuse me? You know?
Well, when he met Kevin Conroy the year he passed,
Wow.
asked him, did he ever see himself working with Luke Skywalker?
What'd he say?
He basically got it all enthusiastic. Like, I think that was the best question anybody could ask him.
That's so good, man. The way Hamill described it, like they were like brothers, you know? They loved each other and they were having a good time doing that, you know?
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I've actually kind of grown a bond with a lot of the people I've had this project with, and I'm actually working into other projects. I don't want to give too much away,
Fair.
but I gotta say, if you're a DC fan, you might love this next project. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
I am, and I'm ready, man.
Hey, riddle me this. Speaking of no pun intended for DC, by the way. How often do you hear the phrase DC Comics?
Not very often since the Justice League release, you know, like, people really felt like, and you know, they brought, I forget his name, the new guy in or whatever that was,
Yeah, no,
you know, he
the phrase DC Comics over DC.
not often, not me personally.
I've heard people say that, and it does sound redundant. It's like going to a restaurant and asking for a cheeseburger with cheese, or being one of those people that like your own posts on Facebook.
That's so funny. I love that.
Yeah, I never understood why. Is it an ego thing, or it's like the only time I did it was to show my Mark Hamill love because I shared a post on who's your favorite Joker, and then there's the different emojis. There was the Mark Hamill one. There was Jack Nicholson. John DiMaggio for Under the Red Hood. Joaquin Phoenix was one of them. I want to say Brent Spiner from Young Justice.
Wow, Data was in there? I didn't even know.
Oh yeah, Data was Joker at one point.
Wow, I gotta look into that.
Which was going back to the adaptation. What we've been talking about it. As we've said, many actors have lent their voices to various characters if a show gets put together enough. And Joker, by far, is no exception.
True.
Live action and animated included, who are your top 3 favorite Jokers?
Well, number one is Heath Ledger. He's on my back. I have a whole back tattoo devoted to Heath Ledger. I was pretty obsessed with that role. You know, hit me pretty hard. I even like, is it George Romero?
Yeah,
Is that how you say?
Romero, and really,
Yeah.
Mark Hamill's not even in the top 2.
Well, Mark Hamill was the next one coming up for me. So those are no particular order. Those Mark, you know, it's really hard because I have a lot of admiration for other ones, but the ones that hit me the hardest are those ones because as a kid, let's just say when I watched the live action Batman and I'd see the acting.
There's kind of been a bunch of them. You got the Adam West Batman where he does the whole finger dance. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. But the Joker was the only serious aspect I could get out of that show because I saw his facial expressions as such an inspiration. You know?
Yeah, riddle me this. He says he's an agent of chaos, but he explains why he does what he does. You're not an agent of chaos, then.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you got me there. That's interesting.
It's like, okay, so I'm not a brony, but I did watch a few episodes of My Little Pony. I watched
Right.
a two-parter with this amalgamation character named Discord, voiced by John DeLance.
Okay.
He does a whole bunch of whacked up shit.
I bet.
He doesn't even explain why he does it. It's like, why are you doing this? Fuck it, that's why.
Because I can.
It's a children's show, and he would never directly say that, but his
Sure.
attitude is saying it.
I get that. A vibe.
Right. Which, speaking enough, funny enough, example of that.
Yeah.
People automatically say Batman, we're always thinking of Bruce Wayne, even though other characters have taken the mantle. Or when we say Spider-Man, we're always thinking of Peter Parker. But ever since Spider-Verse, which is
Yeah.
a cop out,
Miles Morales and all those different things that are happening.
and Spider-Ham and
But it's
Spider-Thor and all those other guys.
It's coming. Like that's the beginning, right? Like just imagine the evolution of that.
Incidentally, check out South Park's Pandaverse.
I will.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's basically an alternate reality where everyone's replaced by a diverse woman of color.
Jeez Louise. I was just about to say, when is Spider Woman coming? But that's an actual character as well in Marvel. So I think
A lot of the Marvel characters that exist always have a female counterpart.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
She-Hulk.
Yeah, it's so true. And it's funny, like you said earlier, trying to be diverse, but by accidentally almost mocking themselves when they do it,
In my
Like,
experience, very few series have been diverse, but they weren't as open about it. X-Men, they're diverse, but they weren't recruiting people because they were diverse.
that's right.
It's like, okay, we have a Canadian guy, we got a black woman, we have this Russian dude, a German guy.
Right.
What else do we need to add to our collection? Oh, don't have somebody from Australia.
Right.
Has one. We can't have one.
Right. And then you have the DC versus Marvel when behind closed doors, when one drops a popular character, the other, especially back then, has to try and counter it. Right.
They've always been in a pissing contest for years.
Yeah.
DC has Killer Croc. So, what does Marvel have? The Lizard. Marvel has Hydra. Who does Marvel have? Who does DC have? Cheetah.
Right.
Avengers. Solomon Grundy. Hulk. Thanos.
Right.
Darkseid. And the list goes on.
So true, man.
But with that said, as long as we can keep the concept of the character, adaptations are going to come and go. But as long as we focus on what they are, like, for example, Michael Bay's adaptation of Transformers, it's not Dragon Ball Evolution or Avatar The Last Airbender bad, but it is notably bad.
Right. Right. A lot of that stems with the love of the show too. I feel like there's so much pressure that they got to really tread lightly when they do stuff like that, and they might have just winged it in a sense of their own ideas, right?
The whole reason a lot of it made money was product placement and Megan Fox fan service and explosions.
Right, right. Shia LaBeouf before the crazy, he like drew in some attention,
I do, and here's what I'm getting at. Optimus Prime has never been kill first. He saves that as a last resort.
Absolutely.
You definitely see this in the Transformers the movie, the 80s version, where he says iconically, Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Right.
But then
He all dies in that, right?
version, he just says, I'll kill them all. And Peter Cullen didn't even want to say that line because that's not Optimus.
Yeah, right. So true, man.
Or if we're going to look at another one, Teen Titans Go, granted, it's also, is it a parody or is it just pandering?
I think it's pandering. It's like more of like trying to be cute, but borderlining the facts,
So where does that leave X-Men Evolution? Is that pandering or is that a parody?
Well, I think, I hadn't really watched that one enough, but that they just tried to use like the byproduct of, and it got maybe in the wrong hands. The passion wasn't really good enough to match the stats, so the vibe comes out not as equal. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain, but
And the saving grace I will give that is that we saw a lot of Beast Wars voice actors voice different characters.
Yeah.
Series, Scott McNeil, Richard Newman, Dave. was Megatron's voice actor's name? It's gonna kill me now.
Oh, is it Dave? Oh, yeah. No, I'm drawing a blank on that too. And damn it, Megatron for crying out loud. He's a popular voice too. He did a bunch of other ones back then too. He was like one of those guys you discussed. Oh, I know his name. No, it's on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, what was that?
It was David Kay.
There it is. It was
It's gonna annoy me so.
He was one of those.
Even the Black Arachnia voice actress or actor. Hey, you know what's funny? I've noticed. Actor and actress is one of the few professions that has a female counterpart. It's like you don't see a doctress. You don't see a professoress.
Right. That is unique.
Or an average woman-esque.
Jesus. That's a unique concept. I don't get where that spawned out of it. It's so true, man.
No, just keep it actor.
Right.
I mean, you want to go for gender neutral, boom, that's gender neutral.
Right. Too good.
Which, funny enough, Animaniacs. See, what Animaniacs did, they did have some modern references, but they really never got political in the 90s one. Now you look at the adaptation, the new one, they say, we're not your dad's Animaniacs, and that's fine. Never think it'll ever be the same as the original counterpart, or at least a cut and paste scenario.
Right.
I'm not sure if anybody told that for the live-action Disney remakes. Anywho, they're getting a lot more political.
It's crazy because that show had so many unique things, like not just Pinky and the Brain, but you got the Goodfellas pigeons and all that stuff. That was cool.
They were called, I believe.
And that's right. Excuse me. Yeah. And like that, I guess I never seen the new one. I wonder how they approach that. Right. Like you said.
I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, I'm glad that we keep the voice talent, but that's the saving grace.
Yeah.
And the only saving grace I'm going to give it.
That was one of my favorites, the original. Absolutely before school type cartoon that I loved.
We're going to continue the theme of a legacy and concept thereof. How long do you believe something should be for it to get a reboot? For the sake of argument, I don't think we should include comics because there are so many versions, so many variants of Batman, so many variants of Spider-Man, so we can't include that. But
right.
Another Thundercats adaptation.
I know what you mean. Then that was a monstrosity. The recent Thundercats.
Yeah,
painful. Yeah, wow, that was painful. Just because they went from A to Z with the way it looked, I don't think that.
Okay, you got the Rankin Bass 80s one, which is the iconic one. Then you got a solid reboot, which we had back with the Cartoon Network in the 2000s.
Sounds right. Yeah.
And it just stock marketed crash with Thundercats Roar.
Yeah, that was painful, man. The bright eyes and the cutesy concepts didn't contain any of the original concepts or theme, So it's like.
Here's the problem, okay, you said 40 years ago, Joker never had an abusive relationship with his girlfriend, or even had one. Yeah, okay, he does have a girlfriend. Nowadays, you can't think of, Harley Quinn, because characters are constantly changing, but as long as we keep them core to the same, I think that really helps their legacy.
Yeah, because that is the legacy that you're describing, in my opinion. Right. It's like when you 180 that, what are the fans who grew up with it or had a specific interest, what are they getting out of this complete remake? And then it goes to the coin flip where, well, it's not for you, it's for your children. Well, no, that's not how this works. Very passionate about myself.
Remind me of a Flash Gets video. It was about the Little Mermaid coming out, and this one person didn't like it, and the entire crowd. It's like, it's not for you. It's not for you.
You're right.
Josh Gibbs or Nick Canyon, I'm not entirely sure. But anyway.
Well, they're fighting so hard for this opinion process where some things will be said you don't like, but then they don't allow you to apply that in reverse and speak openly about your opinion, even if it's not full of hate, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think we should be intelligent enough to have differences of opinion as long as
Right.
we can express why they're different.
Correct.
Beast Wars is by far one of the best adaptations of Transformers, and here's why. For starters, it started a new form, a new method of Transformers series. We have Generation 1, and it is a staple of Transformers as a whole. The problem was there are way too many damn characters to keep a track of.
True.
But Beast Wars, what they lost in quantity of characters, they gained in quality characters, because this was the first time CGI became a thing, and they therefore had to compensate.
True.
That's one step. They also introduced the concept of protoforms and sparks in that series.
Is that right? Yeah, that is right, isn't it?
It was actually the topic of many of the episodes. The Maximo protoforms had to be jettisoned for safe landing, and the reviving of them became the topic of the episodes. And we got many characters, including Air Razor, Tigatron, Black Arachnia, Inferno, the Fusors, Rampage, and Dinobots, second clone.
Wow. You got it together with those facts, bro. Mind blown.
I try to keep informed, and
I love that. I learn a lot when I talk to you.
has one of the best redemption arcs in all of Western animation. That being Dinobot's concept of being a warrior to a hero.
Right.
In the episode Code of Hero, which many Transformers fans will say is their favorite episode of all time.
Code of Hero. I'm going to check that out just to revisit.
Beast Wars was also how we got the inspiration for Toad dying about every episode in X-Men.
Is that right? Oh, it's not.
Yeah, because funny enough, Waspinator keeps dying because the producers hated the way he sounded, even though he shares his voice with Rat Trap, Silverbolt, and Dinobot, who are all voiced by Scott McNeil.
Is that right? It's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. And he was actually meant to be killed off at the end of season 1, along with Scorponok, but the fans loved him so much that they killed off Pterosaur instead.
Shoot.
So wait, you survived because people like watching you die? Yes. There's a German word for that, by the way. It's called Schadenfreude.
Is that right?
It literally translates to the enjoyment of suffering of others.
Wow. It's crazy. I got all this Conroy on my brain now, and I have to watch some old Batman tonight. The Joker knows everything.
If he did, you could find a way to stop being obsessed over Batman and be a productive member of society.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Imagine him working at like a grocery store, you know? You don't know the deal.
Nice.
What's the code for all these produce? That boy, see, every time I try to do the Joker, I borderline my arcade. Still like fine tuning that to stay away from the Joker.
Not that I'm a fan of the new Adventures of Batman, but one of my favorite episodes was when when the Creeper makes his debut, and he starts fucking around with everybody. All three of Joker's henchmen, Bo, Larry, and Curly. Yes, they're named after the Stooges. Even have that motif.
That's so good.
Joker, because he can, and even gets a few punches on Batman.
Wow.
Yeah, something almost no character in the DCAU said they were able to do.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, no kidding.
And he actually has a crush on Harley Quinn.
Of course.
He is voiced by voice legend Jeff Bennett.
Wow.
Who you may recognize as Johnny Bravo from Johnny Bravo and Brooklyn from Gargoyles.
Yeah, absolutely. Want to watch me comb my hair?
Are a good way to help keep a character's legacy alive?
Say it again, sorry?
Do you believe actors are a good way, or even a hindrance, to keeping a character's legacy alive?
Yes, if they do it correctly.
Like, here's a heated controversy. My friend, Mr. C, believes what's his name? The guy that voices Samurai Jack, Phil Lamar, was the best jazz ever. And I'm like, you're crazy. Scatman Carruthers, the literal jazz man, was the best jazz ever.
I'd have to agree. I'm trying to think my head around that.
Jazz literally named jazz. It only makes sense to have a jazz player voice jazz.
Yeah, isn't that the truth, eh?
I mean, he does a good job for just about everything he's done. Some roles better than others. But you're basically comparing filet mignon to a burger.
Yeah, that's fair. I get what you're saying. Well, it's like
comparing freaking Suicide Squad Joker to Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
I mean, granted, the great thing about Joker is that there are so many ways to portray him, and it could still be Joker, but
I do feel like that was the worst way because they got the things that are mandatory for a good Joker wrong. The choice of actor and the style in which Joker carries himself. And I get that they were trying to bring forth what I refer to in my own brain as like the lanky Joker, you know, more like the Mark Hamill or like the taller looking ish. It's a hard vibe to explain, but it's a different type of Joker, you know, and yes, yes, and
but still a guy
right,
you don't want to cross paths with because
right,
just for shits and giggles.
right. Whereas like Jared Leto was fresh off of like his role in the Dallas Buyers Club ish and really feeling himself, and people just kind of studio chose him, you know. Whereas that kind of role needs like some serious passion put forth to gain. You know, you got to really commit yourself.
Which is why I have more respect for voice actors than many actual actors. Like
true story.
What you call it? Three of my favorite Jokers are in order from most to least favorite: Mark Hamill, John DiMaggio, and then Brent Spiner.
Yeah, that's wild. There's a lot of Jokers.
Spiner is that most people remember him for Data.
Of course.
But then he also is able to execute such crazy, chaotic characters like Joker and Puck from Gargoyles.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm gonna look into Data because he's like Star Trek's one of my favorites, so that blows my mind. Hadn't really focused on his voice career much, to be fair.
Looking into characters, wrap your mind around this. Did you know that Captain Spock served as the inspiration for Shockwave?
Really? Maybe I did hear this before.
It was actually a 160 approach on the character. Granted, Spock was always logical.
Of course.
But Shockwave took that to a extreme route.
That's interesting, man. That's crazy.
He actually lent his voice to several non-Shockwave characters, including Galvatron from the animated film.
Wow, that's right too, man.
If you're gonna check out any Transformers movie, definitely check out the Transformers the movie of the '80s. It's got so many great voice acting legends. Of course,
We're talking about the one where he dies, right? Optimus?
yeah.
Yeah, I got the VHS. To be honest, I have not put it on because I don't want to cry. Got me good back in the day as a kid, you know.
You're from Canada, right?
Yes, sir.
Are edibles legal where you're from?
Oh, yes. Everything is legal in a sense of marijuana and whatnot.
Just marijuana or everything?
Everything. They even have like trucks selling like cocaine in Canada. It's insane, bro.
They have
It's
prostitution in Canada?
no, it's pretty much around and it's there, but it's not legal.
Ah, never mind. Now I'm just kidding.
They charge
Anyway,
the John.
the reason
Yeah,
I ask is because I suggest you pop in an edible and watch the movie.
yeah, I'm on that, man. Hell
Blows your mind.
yeah. Heck yeah, man. I love that.
But voice acting legends, Orson Welles as Unicron, Leonard Nimoy as Galvatron, of course the iconic Frank Welker, Peter Cullen duo, Judd Nelson, Scatman Carruthers, just to name a few.
Judd Nelson. Damn, man. The Breakfast Club? I had no idea.
Yeah, he was Hot Rod / Rodimus Prime.
He's very talented on the side. He doesn't get enough talent or credit, that's for sure.
Problem with many actors nowadays. Like, we always have to focus on what's going on with the Taylor Swifts and the Jack Blacks of the world. We always forget that other actors are there.
True story, bro.
Honestly, I'm still trying to find Taylor Swift's appeal. I mean, she's hot enough, but a lot of her songs are just bitching about her exes.
No, I haven't even really listened. It's one of those things. It's just so beyond me. I'm like, retired to the concept.
Yeah, I don't know, but we've been talking about a character's legacy. How do you feel about music legacy? Like, I don't know if you know this, but Fall Out Boy did a modern version of "We Didn't Start the Fire."
Is that right?
It is.
Oh, the Star Trek one?
No, it had a lot of things. It wasn't about Star Trek.
Do you remember the Star Trek one in the 90s?
It was a Star Trek one. You're saying?
Yeah, they had a commercial where it was doing all the Star Trek references in the same tune of the song.
No, I have not. So it's a parody thing. You're saying?
Yeah, well, it was a commercial, and the station releasing it had created it, and it became very popular. Has all these like hints of Star Trek, and I saw it in the '90s on TV. Like I forget the references, like Spock and Data has his cat spot, like all these different things. They're just naming off.
We've been talking about a legacy and the characters thereof. While it is true that the MCU definitely brought in a good bunch of Marvel fans, just like the Transformers movie brought in many Transformers fans, do you believe the MCU was a good adaptation for Marvel Comics?
Yeah, ish. I mean, well, I just think that, like, you mean in a sense of like the way it represented the comics?
Yeah.
I think if you're a diehard enough fan, you can find a lot to complain about. But at what point do we settle for what they give us in a sense of
Well, let's
the
look at
passion?
Phase 1. That was
Right.
excellent. Phase 1 was done phenomenally.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
But then
I,
Phase 2, I think we need to start questioning. It's like, okay, there are some hit and misses.
yeah. Yeah.
Black Panther, they made it a political piece. And as talented as the late performer was, and I'm probably going to get a lot of hate in this comment, but his adaptation was a bitch.
Yeah, it wasn't really massive or like, but it was the movement of what the film represented
No,
that
and if
had all
you
the
like watch the
power.
Fantastic Four animated series, and then you see the episode where Black Panther makes his appearance, you'll see him voiced by Keith David. That is what
Was that
Black
right,
Panther.
eh?
Yeah, he was voiced by Keith David in that one.
Wow,
That is what
nice.
Black Panther is supposed to be in the comics.
Yeah, I get that totally, man. And
And
a
I
lot
didn't
of the
watch the
comics
trailer either.
for me, I didn't go to town on Black Panther back in the day, or currently. I kind of heard of it in a sense of like the movie coming out, like I knew what Black Panther was and all that, but it wasn't my key focus, not for any type of opinion, just I had so many other heroes I was into.
And I honestly have nothing against Black Panther. I think he's pretty cool. The movie wasn't executed properly, if you ask my opinion. They made it
Yeah,
political where they didn't need to make it political.
yeah, that's so true.
Like, let's face it, if any comic needs to be political for Marvel, it's X Men.
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
And
There's a
even
lot.
with as much of a parody thing we're doing, I'm still going to tackle some of their political issues, but it's not going to be the focus of it because I'm sure everybody's kind of getting tired of the world of the government against mutants.
Right. Well, and like here's an example of where I really loved it is like characters like the Punisher. Whereas like the show came out and I don't really remember. I know Frank was very brutal, but they took the violence and all that to an extreme that made a definition, a statement for the Punisher. If you weren't a fan and you're looking into it, there's this newfound love of like what he represented, that character was done so well, it was almost like the Joker.
I do, and there are times where I don't think we should actually get another adaptation. It was so done the first time.
Yes, yes,
Daredevil
like
is
it should be
actually a
steel.
phenomenal example of this.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, what's called Jonathan Frakes executed the role of David Xanatos wonderfully.
Yeah, and that's Riker, right? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was Riker. They
Yeah.
actually developed a television trope after his character, the Xanatos Gambit, believe it or not.
Is that right, eh, Danny?
Yeah, the whole concept is even when you lose, you still win because you got so many games already in focus. Like,
Are you
for
familiar
example,
with
are you single?
no.
Okay, pretend your wife, husband, I don't want to
Wife.
assume.
Wife, no problem. Yeah.
Your wife. Pretend. Alright, I want you to go back when your wife was in the picture. Can you do that for me for a second?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now you're on a dating website. You're putting yourself out there, but you're also running a small business. So you put the link to your business on your dating profile. So even if you're not able to match with somebody, you're still advertising your business.
Fair. Yeah, I got you.
That would be a modern version of a Xanatos Gambit, or a lighter one, but it still holds water because even when you're losing, you're still winning. Or no matter what the outcome is, you walk away with a hot, attractive woman, you win. You're getting advertisement for your business, you win.
True. I get that. There's women that do that on dating sites. They have their TikTok reference and it's all on the headline. I've seen it in the
I don't
past.
understand for the life of me TikTok.
It's basically, I only did it in a sense of voice acting, but it has this vibe where they try to make you feel like you're gaining popularity. But I don't really see it in the
Already, it's called
big.
Pornhub.
Yeah, well, no, amen. And I get all the praise in the world in there for my different voices and things, but it doesn't seem to go anywhere. Whereas like YouTube pays you, and like there's a lot of different things that you could be doing.
So I, for legal reasons, can't pay you. I'm glad you're part of this team.
Absolutely, bro, and I appreciate you having me, man. Thank you.
And as of right now, I'm actually wrapping up the final episode of episode 1 or season 1, where Mojo is auditioning Marvel characters to be part of his Mojo Vision games.
That's awesome.
And then we're season 2. I don't want to get too into it, but the first 3 episodes involve the Brood, Cassandra Nova, and the Mutant Nitro in order.
Awesome. Heck yeah.
So I don't want to get too much into it, but definitely something
Yep.
I'm looking forward to.
More than excited. Heck yeah.
So I think there are several things when we've actually talked about, but I think here's the ultimate takeaway. The iconic value a character has, or what they've actually brought to the table, the inspiration and characters that drew inspiration from them, the actors or actresses, depending on which way you want to be called, that have portrayed them, and adaptations that have done well to those that have not.
Well, for example, a lot of people don't even remember the old Red Skull Captain America 90s movie, you know? I barely remember.
It's like Green
Yeah.
Lantern. We don't talk about it.
That's correct. Or even off topic a bit, the He-Man Masters of the Universe movie. We don't talk about it. Yeah, we don't talk about it, man.
Smash Bros.
You know, it's just like some of them left such a sour taste in our mouths. You know, but then the
Give it 20 years, I'm going to say Transformers are going to be the same way.
yeah, I would have to agree. You know, well, while you talk about that, that's one of my main things when I do the TikTok gaming clips. People call me Optimus, but there's this thing, like in the way that we describe it, where as watching Optimus as a child, I was so influenced that I literally enter this mode where I'm ignoring everyone around me and literally pretending my best to be Optimus, you know, in a sense of what it,
Some advice as an upcoming voice actor, by the way. I actually learned this from Eric Bauza during the Bloombox classes I've took.
yeah,
Past tense, whatever. I'm not really Englishing today.
no problem. I'm with you. I understand you.
If you can say anything a character already has said, like Gollum's, "Well, precious,"
Yeah.
saying, then you're not really voice acting. You're just a glorified parrot. But if you can say
Yeah.
anything in that voice, you are. Here is a bag I got while purchasing some comics from Newsbury Comics at the mall near me. So I'm going to do my
Copy.
Gollum voice while I read what's on the bag.
Okay.
Newsbury Comics. Oh, let's go town.
I got,
The point is, you got to keep the voice.
well, I have the,
Regardless of what you're saying.
I got this thing on my thing. I'll give you my Optimus example. Noise cancellations, filtering out sounds from your mic that isn't speech. Same idea, you know, where I don't care what I'm saying. It's not even that too. I love doing it too, you know. It takes over you, you know. You're like excited. It's like it just feeds you an energy, you know.
Can you say, "I'll get you next time, Gadget," in Optimus Prime's voice? Because I think it would be funny for a Peter Cullen character to say something in a Frank Welker line.
I'll get you next time, Gadget.
Awesome.
You know, you just reminded me that I could do a Dr. Claw. You know, I've recently been told voices that I love, and it blows my mind. Like, I don't know if you remember the Max, like, I am the Max, with like an MTV one back in the day. It was very cool stuff, man. And
It's funny, we always say Peter Cullen and Frank Welker are really buddies, and they are. I think Frank Welker is a little more talented than Peter Cullen, as much as it breaks my heart to say that. And Peter
it
Cullen
was the,
created is Optimus Prime, and that's pretty much every
what he
voice.
does.
Like when you say Peter Cullen roles, people are just going to tell you Optimus Prime, and maybe a handful of other characters.
Right.
Welker, on the other hand, let's go for some of his roles. We have Megatron, Soundwave, Frenzy, and Rubble, all from Transformers.
Right.
If you ever grown up in the Disney Renaissance era, he's voiced one of the animals there, whether it be Sabor the leopard from Tarzan, Apu from
Oh,
Score, Raja, or the Cave of Wonders from Aladdin. The lion roars from The Lion King.
yeah.
Technically not a Disney Renaissance film, but the cat and the dog within The Great Mouse Detective.
Oh man, it's been a minute.
The lizard from The Rescuers Down Under.
Ooh, yeah, I love that one. That was a great one.
Scooby and not Shaggy. Scooby and Fred from many adaptations.
Yeah.
Incidentally, I don't know why, but Velma season 2 is happening.
Oh man, people were so pissed. I never even took a gander.
Hate watch, people. Don't hate watch. Hate watching is still watching. They don't care about
So
views.
true.
They care about views.
So true. As soon as they get the views, you got the season 2 on the way. What did we do to deserve this?
Okay, that's funny.
I was just getting warmed up. I was trying to remember the Aladdin phrase. As soon as you said it, I know I can do that guy. I don't think I've done him. You are a street rat. No, what does he say? Oh, I forget. Diamond in the rough. Yeah, yeah. There's a phrase there. You know, as a kid, I learned.
He's done
Yeah.
several diverse characters, but a core portion of his characters are either animalistic noises, deep-voiced characters, teenagers that solve mysteries, villains.
Like, where does it all spawn from? I've definitely been told that villain is what I can do, you know, or narrate.
Yeah, see, which is why I'm going to go over some of the list of characters I'm going to be portraying. And I'm going to kind of be the Frank Welker of the series, where I'm
Yeah.
just doing a lot of the animalistic noises, whether it's from Sabretooth's roars and growls to the tigers that maul Toad in episode 12 because we need another reason for him to die.
That's awesome.
Precious the snake from Princess Python's snake. Cosmo the space dog. Zabu in the Savage Land come season 2. And any other animal we have. But mainly my animal aspects are mainly dog and cat, but I'm trying to diversify.
I definitely got a few of those up my sleeve too, you know, some animal sounds.
Yeah, it still blows my mind that, we have people making animal sounds for a living, like D. Bradley Baker and Frank Welker. And
I know how it's crazy. It's wild.
Yeah, you know what's funny about Disney, by the way, as long as we're wrapping up this legacy concept? People were talking about the whole Weasel thing like it was a new concept. It's like, dude, Disney did this shit way back in the 90s with Tailspin.
Right.
It's like there was a character named Weasel who was a weasel. You're just reusing an old episode of Tailspin.
Yeah, like there's a lot of that too. And I often wonder because, like, you know, as you know, us types, we retain the information when it comes to things we're passionate about. If these people accidentally do that, or if it's legit, you know, like where did this concept float through? And as you mentioned, when you're changing all these topics, make a new one, you know,
I think
make
it's
it
intentional, and they want to see if anybody noticed.
right. Because then they can push other old products without being creative, right?
Yes, but riddle me this.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, I lost my train of thought for a second. Anyway,
Yep.
you said you've also done some animal voices too. What is your inspiration for that? Do you go to zoos and whatnot?
No, I watch a lot of those videos where they show a lot of this guy made the sound effects you may have heard, and they smack like branches on different things, and they do all kinds of different mixtures, to create sounds. And I always kind of became obsessed with wanting to compete in that, try that out. Let's say.
Please people with your mouth for a living.
Yeah, basically.
Describing professions badly in 10 words or less.
Sorry? What do you mean, though?
Well, it's like when you say it that way I said it, it's like, wait, do you perform oral sex? What? No.
Oh, yeah, no. I thought you were asking me to do it. I was like, huh?
What? God, no.
No, not perform it, but answer the question directly. I was like, huh?
Dude, you're almost in the penalty box for a second.
My bad, bro. So good.
But I will leave you with this. And one question. Even though a character does leave the same voice per character, Tim Curry is another famous example.
I love Tim Curry.
Yeah, do you think he's a good voice actor?
Yes. I think he's one of the best to ever do it.
Which, fun fact, did you know he was supposed to be the Joker not once, but twice?
Yes, I did hear about that. I'm very obsessed. I actually, one of my demonic takes, I try to replicate him in Legend, if you're familiar.
I haven't, but look up Tim Curry Joker on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Also look up Gilbert Gottfried's real voice.
I think I may have heard this before.
It's weird.
Yes.
Because you always see him doing this loud, obnoxious voice.
You've been doing it since Problem Child.
My face looks like it's in a constant form of stress.
Bob Saget. He always talks about Bob Saget.
Aaron and Aladdin.
Yeah, that's right. That's so good, man. He, characters like that, no talent in my opinion, but there's a special talent from what they just.
Godfrey doesn't have any talent?
No, I mean, it's freakish how he spawned as a talent.
Okay, I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
He may not have the credentials written down in that actor versus voice actor thing, but by God, if he doesn't have that unique, amazing ability to like come through, it's like he created a.
Had that Norm Macdonald.
Yes, I love him.
Exactly the same, but what he lacked up in diversifying his vocal range,
Right.
he made up for by his dry wit and humor.
He did not get enough credit on how good he really is.
Dana Snyder is also another phenomenal example. All of his characters sound like Master Shake from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, but they're still all enjoyable to watch.
Dude, that's one of my favorite shows, and I love it.
High or sober?
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Yeah, 'cause it definitely looks like it's one of those shows
Well, it's so random.
you watch when you're high.
So random.
But when
Not
it
even
originally
funny.
aired at 11 o'clock when most sober people were still awake.
Right. Well, and I don't know if you remember, as a creator, they had an independent legacy about them. The way they made things and did things, and they kept to their own like pride in their project, and it was cool.
Very cool.
At the end of their movie,
Things we can appreciate as upcomers and starts. Like,
right? Right.
have you seen the series, either series, Has Been Hotel or Hell of a Boss?
The Has-Been Hotel, my kids are currently obsessed with, and I know a fair amount about it just from
How
them.
old are your kids, and why are you letting them watch this?
Well, they're 15, like 14, and
It's better.
we went to a fan expo, and recent times we go every year. That's when I saw Riker and Data not this year, but they were there.
I got that concept.
Yeah, and they basically had so much has-been hotel people dressed there. It was insane. You know, it was the real theme. So the kids really got hype about that. You know, they really wanted.
We've been talking about new characters to spawn new legacies. That's
Right.
definitely one of the best indie series I've seen in a while.
I'm gonna have to check it out. I like the concept of it being a musical.
The reason I bring that up, incidentally, check out season 2, episode 6 is Genoshan Spring Break. That's gonna be a musical for you right there.
I will. Okay. Hell yeah.
If you want to give a quick shout out to some of the people who we have for the musical talent, we have Mr. C, who worked on the theme song. We have
Really?
we have Freedom, who's actually working on a Cassandra Nova rap, plus donated one of her songs to the Ocean Spring Break. Maya Loveless, Half Past Dead, donating one of their songs, and Chris Bufamonte's band, Finding Polaris, donating one of their songs for the Ocean Spring Break episode.
Wow. I gotta look into that.
Well, it's not out yet, but it's an upcoming episode.
No, I just mean like I had no idea. Like,
But the reason I bring those up is because Jonathan Freeman, the man who voiced Jafar, also voices Blitz's dad and Stolas's dad in the Hell of Lost series. And they're voiced by the same guy, but the voices sound extremely different.
wow.
Like, one literally sounds like Jafar, but the other one is more high-pitched. It's scary.
It's crazy. I love Jafar. Like, that's one of the voices I get told to do quite often. There's something.
And honestly, one of the more understandable villains. Considering how poor Agrabah was, you do need somebody a little more competent to take over.
That's pretty true.
It's literally
Like,
a Christmas situation all over again.
wow, isn't that the truth?
Yeah. Like, so who's really evil?
There's a lot of it.
Cusco the Sultan or Jafar and Yzma?
Jeez, I don't think I ever heard the real name of the Sultan.
Well, no, the Cusco was from the Emperor's New Groove.
There it is. I knew it from somewhere.
I think the Sultan has a real name. They everywhere just refer to him as either the Sultan or Father. It's like, yeah, you're not important enough to get an actual name. Fuck you.
You're the Sultan. That's it.
Like, okay, well, wait. He's now the new Sultan, so what am I supposed to be? Fuck you. I mean, even if a genie is a genie, we're going to only call him a genie because we don't bother learning slaves' names.
Oh man. Great. Well, and you were talking about the genie and the concepts there, and one of the things that blows my mind is that's an absolute shit the bed. Putting Will Smith as the genie was absolute blasphemy. You know. Copy.
First off, I'm going to ask you 2 genie-related questions. First
Okay.
off, for the live-action remake that needed to happen, who would you have cast as genie? And second, if you're going to rank all the genies that we've had, what would your order be?
Oh, jeez. I'd have to say, oh man, you know, I can't really say who would be the genie because that, to me, if given the power, would be one of the most intense decisions ever made. Like, I instantly go for who I think is like viable, and it keeps going back to like Robin Williams in my brain, if that makes any sense. Like, wow.
Definitely a one-of-a-kind character.
Man, I'm trying to think of a comparison.
Like, I would like to see a Bill Burr genie.
You know, I consider that because there's lots of animation to his voice in a way. I'm trying to consider that Robin Williams humor, like maybe Louis C.K. I don't think.
Maybe we can get an SNL, one of the old SNL people.
Right.
Like it'll be a good excuse for finally Adam Sandler's doing his annoying baby voice for a reason.
That would see because he has enough clout, I think, to take the role, in a sense of comedy, to at least try it. Whereas like the Will Smith choice was like, give me a break,
Hey, keep his name out your fucking mouth.
Dude, I laughed forever at that, man. It's too much. We went from Johnny Depp to Will Smith,
I don't know. It just we're talking about diversifying acting. It's like, is he an actor though? Because no matter what he plays, he just plays Will Smith.
No, that's what I mean. And he reached that type of fame where only the best of movies come to him. So the shittiest of actors could fulfill it. Sure, he does a pretty good job sometimes, but it's like
But
they
how
don't
far
send
in
him bad
between is
scripts.
that?
Well, amen. And what, like, how many people had like an option? Let's say I feel it all cracked off for him in Independence Day. Just became this icon of like American, like,
Cracked off for him when he let his kids act with him.
oh man, that was the worst.
Anyway,
That's
so now
that's
what do you got? You're gonna rank the best genies we've had, Broadway and live action included.
Geez, I don't know that I know too much about the genies.
All right, so I'll start off. Obviously Robin Williams,
That I agree to. Absolutely.
Disney stated that they had 3 best acting choices of all time for their movies: Robin Williams from Genie, Vincent Price from The Great Mouse Detective, and
Wow.
James Woods from Hercules.
Really?
Which, not to get too sidetracked, but as many as the mythological faux pas they made in Hercules, you'd think they would have gotten his name correct.
Like, what do you
Hercules is
mean?
the Roman
Oh,
name. Heracles is
yeah,
the Greek one.
that's right. That's right.
I mean, no one's saying that they should show Zeus fucking his great 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 granddaughter or something, but at least call the guy by his right name.
Yeah, that's so true, man. Do something.
I mean, the only thing that they got right was Phil being horny as fuck towards those nymphs. That's it.
Wow, man, it's been a while since I've seen that one. I felt like it didn't get the attention it deserved,
You know, also good high. At this point, everything from the Disney Renaissance is probably good high. Maybe not Hunchback of Notre Dame because that already tackles too many adult themes as is.
That's true.
Yeah, and it's already fiery and scary. It's like, ugh. But Tony, even though they didn't say it, Tony Day was phenomenal in that role.
Yeah, that's fair.
And here's what I've noticed: pretty much every villain is either English or of some kind, or one of the members of the Axis powers.
Yeah, there's definitely some truth to that.
It's like, okay, so what are our main 4 categories of villains? English, imperialistic Japanese, German mad scientist, or mafia Italian.
Yeah, basically, man.
There are others, but
Outfit. There's like there's the arcade type. The outcast.
as far as accents go, I mean,
No, yeah. You pretty much nailed that. And if you go to live action movies, the '90s was like Russians and Germans, and then you go into like now anyone from the Sandlands. You know what I mean? It's like it's crazy stuff.
I would say my number 2 pick would be James Monroe Iglehart from the Broadway show.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
The third one is the Japanese one. Yeah, I'm also a weeb. I saw it in Japanese.
That's awesome.
Or as my tan would say, I'm a fucking weeb.
I love it, man. It's awesome.
The fourth one would be Dan Castellaneta, who did the second movie and the television series.
Wow, he did. Wow, Homer's been around, eh?
And fifth one, Will Smith, because I have to give him a fifth spot. But these
Well,
are just the ones I've seen.
I'll admit, if you took Will and his role and didn't involve Robin or your opinion, he didn't do so bad.
Oh, sure.
You know,
If you didn't have Robin or any of the other previous genies in existence,
absolutely.
good.
The legacy was just so strong.
It's like that freaking Jackie Chan episode where they destroyed those talismans, and then the powers went to animals as hosts. And they couldn't find a dragon, so they brought back Shendu. It's like, okay, you're the most noble dragon. This guy's a villain. Yes, but he's also the most noble dragon on the planet. He's the least qualified to have this power.
You're like, what the hell?
But you are the least qualified. Wait, are there any other dragons on the planet? No. Yeah, now I know why he's the most noble of them.
Jesus.
But Will Smith was great in many things. Genie is just not one of those things he should brag about. Or
Fair,
Suicide
man.
Squad, for that matter.
I mean, I'm pretty cheesy. I liked iRobot when it came out. There was a lot of different things he's done that some might not like that I liked a lot, you know?
He was good as Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Absolutely. Bad Boys was
The
decent.
movie Shark Tale was He still did a good job in that. Men in Black, good part.
Yep.
But
Yeah, that's true.
by and large, I wouldn't highlight saying I was the genie in Aladdin or I was, what was it, Deathstroke in Suicide Squad?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, I wouldn't brag about that.
No, man, it's terrible.
Besides, Idris Elba was the better author anyway.
He got, oh, is that right, eh? Yeah, that's right.
So on that note, thank you for stopping by for this week's episode of Geek Talk with Tyler as we will wrap up Character Madness Month.
Thank you so much for having me, Tyler. I appreciate all you're doing, man, and involving me in your project, brother. Sounds great.
Yeah, no problem. One more time, where can people find you?
TikTok, baby. I have a unique alias. My alias is Madame Sparkledarp.
Terrific. Catch
And
you
I
on next
appreciate
month's
it.
episode as we talk about Anime April, where I bring in various guests as we talk about all things anime. But no matter what you decide to do, follow, subscribe, etc., remember that one important thing: stay geek.